Welcome back to Cossy Arsenal Podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to brand new video. This is your latest Arsenal news and transfer news. We're going to be diving into the latest around the club. Toney is keen on a move to Arsenal rather than Chelsea and Liverpool in January. Doesn't want to stay at Brentford. He prefers a move away from the club. We'll be talking about ESR because Newcastle have a deal in the pipeline worth 25 million euros and Arsenal could find themselves in a very difficult situation as ESR wants to play more football. So Emile Smith-Rowe, could he leave in January? Could Arsenal actually keep him until the summer? There's a very big question there. Jorginho is wanted at FC Barca as Barca do have problems in their midfield, especially with injuries. And we'll be talking about our next 6 fixtures as a club, and also Bukayo Saka is player of the month in September. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well. Let me know what you think about the stories today. Toney to Arsenal in January. It looks like he's favoring and leaning towards a move to Arsenal as compared to Chelsea, who are also going to be very much interested in him. And also Emile Smith-Rowe to Newcastle. Newcastle are looking at this as an opportunity. He's not playing football, and the player is not happy. Absolutely unhappy with whatever is going on. He's not actually guaranteed to be an important player as he was a season and I think season or 2 seasons ago. So what's going to happen with Emile Smith-Rowe and what should happen with Emile Smith-Rowe? Let me know in the comment box below. Right, let's start off with those big 6 fixtures that Arsenal will have after the international break. It's a couple of days away, I think 5 days, and then football will be back. We take on Chelsea right after this international break, like you could see on your screen there. And I think that is a game that is really going to define where Chelsea are, but also it's going to define our title ambitions. After beating Man City last weekend, but one actually, can we go and then beat Chelsea? Can we do a back-to-back against Chelsea and against Manchester City? After Man City, you go and beat Chelsea. So that is the next fixture. Then we'll play Sevilla in a very important Champions League fixture, which means that you win this one, we are on top of the table. We don't win this one, we are literally we are in trouble. Then Sheffield United, then West Ham, then Newcastle, and then Sevilla again in the second leg of that UEFA Champions League tie. How many points do you think Arsenal can genuinely get out of these fixtures? Now, I mean, look, if you're going to be optimistic, you should be saying Arsenal should be getting maximum points. However, I don't think we'll get maximum points, and I don't think it's as easy as you beat Chelsea, you beat Sevilla home and away, you beat West Ham, and then you beat Newcastle. It's not going to be as easy as that. So I would say we beat Chelsea, we beat Sevilla, and Sheffield United. The next 3 fixtures we could win. We beat West Ham. We could draw against maybe we could draw against Newcastle, and then maybe we could draw against Sevilla away in Spain. So I'm looking at 2 draws and 4 wins in our next 6 fixtures. So let me know in the comment box below what you think about those next 6 fixtures. Now, just talk about Saka a little bit. Saka was voted as player of the month for September. At Arsenal last week, actually, not this week, but he was voted for player of the month, September, and I think, look, there are so many contenders in that category. I think Odegaard was there as well. I think Declan Rice was there. I think William Saliba was also nominated for player of the month. But Bukayo Saka's impact on this Arsenal team has been very, very huge. 3 goals, 3 assists in that month. I mean, we could argue that he's had a slow start, and everybody actually talks about the fact that, Saka has not had a big start, a huge start to the season. But in terms of numbers, I think he's actually delivering more as compared to what you would say, as compared to all the talk that he's not actually had a very good start. Because think about it. If he has contributed 10 goals, that is 5 goals and 5 assists in 10 games, I don't think there is much to ask for of such a player. Now, I think his goal scoring is going down a little bit. He's got to work on that, and he's got to raise his level a little bit. Probably scatters of injuries, probably scatters of the conservative nature in which Arsenal are playing. There's so many factors that can actually explain that. But the key part is that he's performing at a top level and he's not even performing at his best. So when this Arsenal team becomes its best, gets back to its best, Odegaard will be flying, Zinchenko will be flying, and Saka will be flying as well. We could see Saka getting more goals than last campaign and more assists as well than last campaign. Because last campaign, I think he had around 11 assists and 14 goals. This season, it's highly likely, the chances are that he will be above 11 assists, and there are also chances that he will be above 14 goals, because he's really started off very well in terms of that output, in terms of impacting the team. The goal he scored against Nottingham Forest, class, pure class. But then it's the goal that wins the game. The assist against Everton, again, pure class. In terms of the assist, in terms of the finish, again, it's the goal that wins the game. So he's a game winner. He's still one of those players that are very important for us. And I mean, we've got to pray and we've got to think and hope, fingers crossed, his injuries are not going to be a big problem for us this campaign, because for me, he's one of the players that we really undermine a lot because we have him, but he's irreplaceable. He's one of the irreplaceable pawns on that chessboard for Mikel Arteta. You touch it, he's got no options, right? He's got no options. I think Jesus has done very well playing out wide. But where do you want Gabriel Jesus? You want him down through the middle, Trossard on his left and Bukayo Saka on his right, or Martinelli on his left and Bukayo Saka on his right. That is the best Arsenal. That is the best attacking three we have at the moment. So Saka, I cannot even disagree. Whoever voted for Saka being player of the month in September absolutely got it, spot on. Right, let's get into some of the transfer news this early morning, and let's start off with that big Ivan Toney update, because according to Sky Sports' Paper Talk, Ivan Toney is keen on a move to Arsenal as compared to Chelsea, Liverpool, and a couple of other clubs that will be interested in him. However, I think the big story around Ivan Toney and his January move is he prefers to move in January when his ban actually comes to an end. He prefers to go away from Brentford. He prefers to get new life, a new club, and start a new career rather than starting off at Brentford. So we could see Ivan Toney on the market, and we could see Arsenal probably getting that kind of opportunity, and we could be favourites in this deal, because if the player wants to play for you, if the player wants to concentrate on their next part of the career and they want to take that next part of the career to Arsenal in London, it's going to be very, very interesting. But this is what I'm going to say with Ivan Toney. Number one, Chelsea and Liverpool are real contenders, like real contenders. With Liverpool, it's easy to shrug them off because they have a lot of options. I think Darwin Núñez is there, Cody Gakpo is there as well, and we might go, well, they don't need him. They don't need a number 9, but he's been a Liverpool fan since childhood. So he's been a big fan for Liverpool as young as they come. So, I mean, if Liverpool wanted him, I wouldn't be surprised for him to go to Liverpool, because he's been a fan of Liverpool Football Club, ever since he was young. Now, he was speaking on the diary of a CEO a couple of weeks ago, and he said, I love Arsenal. I've always loved Arsenal. I love the Emirates Stadium. I love the fans. I love the atmosphere at the club, and I would really love to play for Arsenal. Whether this story of he wants to play for Arsenal over Chelsea, over Liverpool, is coming from that clip, which I think is kind of lazy journalism, then well and good. But if it's genuinely true that he wants to play for Arsenal and he would prefer a move to Arsenal over Chelsea and Liverpool, then Arsenal have a massive boost in this deal. That's a huge boost in this deal. So with Chelsea, I think Mauricio Pochettino is a very difficult manager to understand what he's going to do and what he doesn't want to do, or what he's not going to do. But this is what I would say. If you're Chelsea, you need Ivan Toney. Like, Arsenal definitely need Ivan Toney. Ian Wright has said we need Ivan Toney to compete with Manchester City and to complete the puzzle. Everyone has said we need a striker. Everyone has said we need a number 9. And I myself have already said Arsenal need a number 9. But Chelsea badly need number 9. Like, Chelsea are at that stage where they are wasting 5 good chances per 2 games, courtesy of having a quack striker in Jackson. And I think Jackson is one of those players that can score for you 10 goals in a campaign. He can even score for you 13, 14, 15 goals in a campaign. He's more like an Olivier Giroud. So with Olivier Giroud, you've got a lot of assets of his game, right? Of scoring goals. He can track back. He's got that aerial ability. He's a fox in the box as well. Like, he's a presence in the box. And so many other things. It's what Jackson is all about. Chelsea will die for Ivan Toney. I don't think they'll go for a player like Victor Osimhen. I'll talk about Victor Osimhen in a proposed swap deal with Gabriel Jesus later on. But I don't think Chelsea will go for Osimhen worth 150 million, and they leave behind Ivan Toney 70, 80 million. I don't think they're gonna do that. So I think again it's gonna be between two clubs that have faced out before. We faced off before against Chelsea. Can we win the battle this time? Because whenever we've had the battle with Chelsea, I don't think we've come victorious. I don't think we've come out victorious. We've always come out as losers. Maybe you could say one against Declan Rice. That is where Arsenal became, triumphant. That's one of the deals we won. But in the rest of the other deals, Chelsea have been really, really good at beating us to players. So Ivan Toney in January, keen on this Arsenal deal. But how about Chelsea? Can we distract Chelsea? Can we get him out of can we get Chelsea off his mind? Because again, the problem and the question is gonna be, if Chelsea are interested in Ivan Toney and they can give him the money and they can pay the 80 million, are Arsenal going to go, we will pay the 80 million or even more than 80 million, and we are also willing to pay him a higher wage as compared to Chelsea? I don't think so. I don't think this is going to be very, very easy. But where it becomes an advantage is one or two things. One, Chelsea will have a spending embargo very, very soon, and I don't expect them to spend a lot of money in January. That is number one. Number two, it will depend on the amount of money Arsenal are willing to spend, right? If Arsenal really want to spend 80 million, 70 million, and upwards of 60 million, then the player being keen on the Arsenal move really makes a lot of sense, and it works in our favor. But if we do not have that 80 million, it doesn't make sense. Even if he's interested, even if he really wants us to be, on top of the list, we will not buy him. We are not willing to spend the money, right? So again, let's wait and see what comes out of this one. But Toney wants to maybe talk to a couple of people around him, and I think Brentford are really aware of the player's position, because his position is he would love to play elsewhere after his ban, after January, right? He wants to play elsewhere, and elsewhere means Arsenal, elsewhere means Chelsea, elsewhere means Liverpool, Man United, Man City, wherever he's going to be called. The one thing I'm gonna say about this deal again is his English and the number of clubs interested might not be as overwhelming, and the number of clubs that can pay 80 million and upwards of 70 million for him might not be overwhelming. So think about this. Spurs want a striker, but I expect them to go and sign a striker like I cannot think one off head that is cheap, but I think a striker in the region of 25 to 40 million. Or 60 million maybe, right? 25 to 50 million, 60. I think Arsenal will sign a striker upwards of 60 million. I think Chelsea will sign a striker upwards of 60 million. Now, the rest of the other clubs interested in signing a striker will actually prefer to sign a striker who is above 80 million. Like Madrid, they would go for maybe Mbappe, maybe Osimhen, above. That is above. I think Barca will try to sign a striker above 80 million as well, if they can get their resources and funds upright and in order as well. So I think the competition on Brentford's Ivan Toney is stiff but small. Like Chelsea will pay the 90, and if Arsenal can pay the 90, that makes it stiff, but again, it is still small. There are not more than 10 clubs that can afford Ivan Toney, and there are not more than 10 clubs that think there is real value in paying for Ivan Toney. 80 million upward. Well, Barcelona are also interested in Jorginho as well for a January transfer move. Now, I think this one is kind of a suicide one. I don't think Barca will get Jorginho in January. If Partey wasn't leaving for AFCON in January, and if Tomiyasu was not leaving as well, and El Neni was not leaving as well for AFCON in January as well, maybe we could think about it. But with those two leaving for AFCON, it looks like Jorginho and Rice are going to be the two players in that holding midfield position. And then also in January, I think Arsenal will have decided which competitions are we gonna, concentrate on? I don't think Jorginho lives in January. Emil Smith Rowe is the same case. Newcastle are interested, 25 million. I don't think ESR lives in January. I don't see it happen. I really don't see it happen. It's the same thing with all players that clubs are interested in. I don't see Arsenal sell our best players or even our fringe players in January. Even if a player is just for squad depth, I don't see them leaving January. I mean, it would be very difficult. But anyway, we'll speak to you right in the next one. See you soon.